everybody, this is Chad the Gaming Dad, and I'm back once again, this time doing a VR, a video response to Gamezomatik. And he was talking about a topic that I actually have a few opinions about as well. I got a lot of opinions about a lot of things. And so I'm going to talk about that, but instead of you just watching me here on this, you know, pretty boring background and everything, I figured I would play some of my footage from... This has actually become my absolute all-time favorite series of games. Yakuza 6, The Song of Life. Yes, I'll be playing some Yakuza 6 in the background. I have beaten the whole story, but I haven't done all the side missions. So what you're going to see here is just all kinds of side missions going on in the background while we talk about, do we have ourselves to blame for Black Ops 4 and just in general the topic of how games are changing these days and what they're turning into. It's getting kind of crazy. Ah, yes. Here we are in beautiful Kamurocho, following Kazuma Kiryu around. Man, I'm telling you, I love this game. I love all the Yakuza games. It's so great. I found out about this series last year when Yakuza 0 came out. Since then, I've played so much of it. It's absolutely my all-time favorite series of games. But anyway, we'll watch as Kiryu beats the crap out of these thugs in the background here. And if I see something particularly crazy, I may talk about it. But really what we're here today to talk about is not that guy getting his face smashed in, but talking about how games are changing. You know, the biggest evidence of this today is the way that Black Ops 4 is now going to have no single-player campaign whatsoever. It's in favor of doing some online multiplayer like they usually have. They're going to do the zombie mode, but then they're adding Battle Royale. Yippee! Battle Royale. Now, I've played plenty of Battle Royale already. I got into a little bit of PUBG. Tried Fortnite. I actually like PUBG better. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. In case you don't like saying PUBG. I just don't understand why everybody's so enamored by it, but I do understand why Activision wants to get in on that. And look at that home run, Kiryu. Very nice. Yes, Yakuza 6. You can play so many different things. You're going to see all kinds of crap in the background while I'm talking here. Not the best at some of these mini games, but you'll get a gist of just why these games are so great, because there's all kinds of stuff going on in them. But anyway, the reason why Activision wants to get in on this is just because of money. And I was watching Gamezomatik's video, and he was talking all about it. And the thing that kept coming to mind to me isn't that necessarily it's our fault. When I say our fault, I'm saying those of us that are first-generation gamers, as I like to call us, the guys that have been around forever, since the beginning of games. Born in the 70s, maybe early 80s. But once you get past that, the thing that I'm seeing that just is the main, the main factor that changed in the world is what's leading us down this path. As Kiryu smashes another face into the car. It's as blunt as that. It's as blunt as getting your face pummeled in by Kiryu. When we grew up as kids in the 70s and 80s, our lives weren't that much different than the way kids grew up before us. You know, the older generation always complained about the younger generation's music. Like, hey, we don't like those that new music. It's not music, it's noise, all that crap. Right? But that was just a minor thing. But everybody had their own music. It was kind of like we all grew up very similarly. But then suddenly the thing that changed in the last few years, well, not the last few years, but about 15, 20 years ago, was the internet, and how the internet found its way into everything, going forward all the way till today. I must stop for 1 second just to talk about how nice this Club Sega looks. I wish we had arcades like this in America, where you could go in and play some Outrun, some Hang-On, all kinds of fun games. But that's why you do it in Yakuza. So yeah, the internet changed everything. You know, Steve Jobs was talking about changing the whole world with the iPhone and things like that. And he did. But just like Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park talks about, just because you could, did you ever stop to think if you should?
Yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
Yes, that's right, Jeff. Did we ever stop to think if we should? And I don't know. At the time, it sounded great, even to us. It sounded like, oh yeah, you want everything in the palm of your hand. You want all this information and everything. Problem is, it doesn't matter whether it's video games. It doesn't matter whether it's just going to McDonald's for a hamburger or something. It seems like it's infected everyone, me included. I mean, hell, I'm on YouTube, for Christ's sake. YouTube is an internet thing. I get it. But it's infiltrated everything so much that especially the younger generation have grown up not knowing what it was like to have to wait for anything or to work for anything. Everything is instantaneous. Everything just happens. It's just there. All you have to do is ask your phone, and then it's there. Woo, you know? And I think that's what's leading gaming into a new place. I always say on my videos that you never outgrow video games, and what I mean by that is that you never stop wanting to play games. Once you're the kind of person who likes playing games, you're not going to stop liking games. You're not going to stop wanting to play them. Problem that I'm seeing, though, as I get older, is that the new games don't want to have anything to do with me. And that's where we're going with this Call of Duty. I'm not a huge multiplayer fan. I do like some of it. I play some online shooters. I've played some Destiny. I've played, like I said, some of the Battle Royale. I've played a lot of things, but that's not really what brings me to the table. I mean, even just this Yakuza game that's in the background. The reason I get so sucked into it is a very long, detailed, and like pulls at the heartstrings kind of story. I mean, you can really lose yourself in the game. Immersion, like everybody talks about immersion. The thing with these new games is that it's not just that they're cheaper to make multiplayer, but they're cheap experiences. I mean, I don't want to say that they're not worth experiencing, but they just don't have a lot of depth. It's just, you know, you go online, you shoot, you have fun with your friends, and that's it. It's quick, it's easy, it's instantaneous gratification, that kind of thing. You don't have to wait through a cutscene. But you know, when I'm playing Yakuza, I like waiting through the cutscenes. In fact, I'm not waiting through them, I'm waiting for them, because I can't wait to see what the next bit of the story is going to be. I love seeing what they're going to show me next. You know, you anticipate it. You get invested. You've seen all the bad things that the evil guy's done to you and to your girlfriend and your friends and stuff, and he's saying awful things, and you just can't wait to pummel him with your fists and stuff. That's what makes that game so great. That's why I love the Yakuza games. Not everybody's going to like those games, though, because they're a lot slower than what you're used to. I happen to just connect with the character because some of the things that I do as a person, some of the things I believe are kind of in line with his own kind of, I don't know, it's not necessarily morality, but just his way of feeling about justice or whatever. You identify with a character, and so you get into it. And that's why I really like those games. But again, the younger generation, they've grown up their whole life with nothing taking any time whatsoever. Everything just happens so quickly and is so over so fast and on to the next thing. You know, you don't spend a whole lot of time on one thing. You get something fast, you use it up, you throw it away, and you move on to the next thing. It's bam, 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 fast, fast, fast. And that's what they're trying to do with these video games. They want them to be that kind of experience because that's, to be honest, that's the bulk of the players out there nowadays. The truth of the matter is they're not really making Call of Duty 4, Black Ops 4 for us. They're not making it for the original gamers. They're not making it for us first-generation gamers. They're making it for the now 20-year-olds, maybe 30-year-olds that have some extra money and will be willing to spend microtransaction after microtransaction. That's what they're trying to do. I mean, they're going to put a Battle Royale mode in there, but they're also going to litter it with all kinds of microtransactions so you can customize your guy, so that you can tell your friends that you got the coolest hat or the shirt or the outfit or the special gun or whatever it is. That kind of crap doesn't do anything for me. But that's not to say that it's a bad game or a bad thing, it's just not for me. And I think that's what's happening, is that we're going to start, as a older gamer, somebody who's been around for a long time, we're going to start seeing that more and more stuff that's new, it just doesn't seem like it's going to be for us. I've said a bunch of times that I think that the PS4 and the Xbox One are going to be my final consoles that I buy. And I believe that more and more every day as I see everything moving more towards microtransactions, more towards online all the time, more towards digital only. You know, and I have a bunch of digital games, and I've played online only games before, but I'm not going to buy a new console if that's all you can do on it. I may, as Gamezomatik was talking about, I may dabble in that a little bit, but ultimately, I'm primarily a single player. You know, I like to play games alone. Occasionally, I'll play with other people. My son's getting old enough now where he wants to play Halo with me, and that's really fun, the two of us. But on the Master Chief Collection, you can play multiplayer split screen locally through all the games, but then on Halo 5, they took it away. You can't do it. They want you to go online and play with other people. They don't want you sitting couch co-op, split screen, having fun with your kids or with your friends. They want you to, everybody go buy their own Xbox, everybody buy their own copy of the game, and you play it online. That's what they want to do. And I see that's where it's going. I mean, there are already examples of how in the future, look at that. That guy just kicked the motorcycle straight up in the air and it flew. Anyway, there's already examples of things that I'm talking about. I don't know how many of you out there play a lot of mobile games, but I don't. When I first got my first couple of iPhones or whatever, I was amazed that there were games you could play on them that were halfway decent, and I bought a few of them. And some of the early ones were pretty good. But it seems like anymore, every game you buy on there is just another one of these free-to-play, wait 10 minutes to get another little coin to do something, or you could buy some coins right now. I have not played any of those. I have no desire whatsoever to play those. So that's a prime example of not outgrowing video games, because I still play lots of games, but I have no interest in those. So if the consoles start to go down the road that mobile games and all these other things have already done, I'll have no interest in those either. But the really good thing is that, just like Gamezomatik and other people have been talking about over and over again, is collecting for the last gen. And I actually try to collect for this gen too, if I can find good deals on things, because once the PS5 comes out, and I know they just talked about it, Sony says that PS4 is on its last legs, that we're going to have maybe a year and a half, 2 years maybe, before they're going to be pushing a new console out. So I'm going to try to get as many of these good games that I know I can have fun with down the road. I'm going to try to get as many of those as I can. And the library that I have collected over the years, those are just going to be the games I play for the rest of my days. I'm not going to get into the new stuff because, again, I didn't outgrow games, but games are changing. Games change to the point where they're not for me anymore. And that's really not my fault, and it's not the game's fault. It's not the developer's fault. It's just because times have changed. The main consumers out there grew up differently than we did. They grew up with instant gratification, with instant everything. Oh man, Kiryu just walked into a mahjong parlor. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Mahjong. That's something I have yet to figure out, so I turn him right around and walk away. Can't play mahjong. I know how to do it on like a little app or something where you're just supposed to match them up, but I don't know how to play it for, you know, I guess it's like poker or something, or some sort of card game, but with little domino things. Anyway, like I was saying, the kids, and I say kids, I sound like an old man, I sound like an old grandpa, but the kids nowadays, what they're into isn't a bad thing. It's just totally different than what we were into because they grew up different. So here's another little bit I got to tell you guys about Yakuza. I haven't done much of this either, but there are hostess clubs where you have to go in and it's another mini game. There's tons of mini games, video game mini games, and then stuff like this where you sit and you have to try to talk to this girl to I don't know, get her to fall in love with you or something. There's a party chain, a sexy chain. I like the different things you can choose to say, like wash my underwear and make miso soup for me. Whatever. You gotta play these Yakuza games if you haven't played them. They're so much fun. Ah, yes, she loves it. Diamond, golden hearts floating all around. So, anyway, that's what it boils down to. So, my response to Gamezomatik mainly is that things are just going to keep changing, and there's nothing we can do about it. There's nothing we can do to stop it. And we've come through a very, very big fork in the road. Like I said, the way I grew up wasn't that much different than the way my parents grew up. Just a little bit farther along in time, but technology was only a little bit more, but then it really got big toward the late 80s and 90s and into the 2000s, where now everything is always online. So many different ways to make money. They don't make products anymore. They make services, live services. And most of the kids nowadays have grown up with nothing but live services, so they don't see anything wrong with it. And because that's how it's going to be, 20 years from now, there won't be any more physical stuff. There won't be any more physical copies of things. You're just going to be Netflixing every single thing that you want to do, whether you want to watch movies or listen to music or play games or whatever. It just seems like it's so much easier for them to make money that way, and they can push things out faster and faster. Check that out as I KO. It's another mini game in Yakuza. You can play Virtua Fighter 5. It's pretty much the whole game, Virtua Fighter 5. Stuck right inside one of those Club Segas you can go into. So great. But anyway, the moral of the story, like I'd said, times are changing, but it's not really anybody's fault. So Gamezomatik's asking if it's our fault. Well, I mean, it is the fault of gamers in general, because we continue to buy things that are pushed out to us, you know, with microtransactions and stuff, and people are paying for it. But to just say don't buy them anymore or whatever, I think people are going to continue to buy them because there's a whole very, very distinct split in the way people do things and the way people think about things from years ago when we were kids to now. The younger generation doesn't really see as much wrong with what's going on because it's how it's always been for them. You don't have to wait for your favorite TV show to come on. You can either just watch it on YouTube or set your DVR or whatever. You don't have to be home at any given time to watch your favorite show. You don't have to go to the record store because there aren't any. You just download it. You don't even have to go to a store to buy your video games. You can just download those too. And if that's all you've ever done, it doesn't seem that bad. But for the rest of us, we've done things quite differently almost our entire lives up until recently, and this just doesn't feel right. But maybe that's just a product of us getting a little bit older and moving on down the line. Maybe it's time for us to just sit back and say, you know, I'm going to enjoy the ones that come out that are good, find those few diamonds in the rough, games like maybe like God of War and things like that that are still kind of an older style game, but they're not going to be quite as many as the other ones. I think the new Call of Duty is going to become more the norm than the exception. This just happens to be the trailblazer, if you will. So it's a sad thing, you know, but that's just how it goes. So back to Yakuza 6 here. Look at this. This is another side mission. Going back, I've already beat the whole story, but you go back through all these different side missions. This guy just stole my phone. And it's funny that this is the side mission I'm showing, because we're talking about how the internet is all over the phone. This side mission deals with, they have basically a Siri app that they put on his phone and the Siri app doesn't want to be deleted off of his phone, so she told the guy with the mask to go steal Kiryu's phone before he deleted her off of that phone, because all the phones were connected, and they're trying to make it like it was a Terminator thing or something, where all the phones talk together, and my Hiji app told me to do it. Right, the Hiji app. So anyway, this is a little bit of a new format for me, this video. Hopefully, just hanging out, talking for a little while is a little bit more, I don't know, a little bit more enjoyable than me just staring at the camera and talking. And I had to leave you with this. This is the end of my talk with the girl, and he's afraid my time is up. I'm going to have to call it quits for my session. Let's see how I did with my talking to the girl. How good was I? Well, result, bad. So some things never change. For everything that does change, some things never do. But anyway, till next time, this is Chad the Gaming Dad. And remember, you never outgrow video games even if they do change. We might just have to stick with our old ones. So till next time, everybody. So long. Hey, thanks everybody for sticking with me and watching the entire video. I hope you liked it. The best way to help out the channel is to leave a like, leave a comment, and tell your friends. If you'd like to support the channel further, there are links in the description. But otherwise, always remember that you never outgrow video games. My name's Chad the Gaming Dad, and we'll see you on the next one. So long, everybody.